Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Semois. Yes, indeed, Semois, that rather nice, quaint village map with its nice compartments, with the lots of resources right close to your base, although it has quite a bit of munitions right in the center, but mostly all the victory points are right in the center area, the center compartment, which of course makes that a bit more valuable. You have the sort of town which tends to be the sort of main focal point for all fighting. Lots of buildings, lots of cover, lots of nice positions for fighting if you know how to handle it. More further away points, slightly less defensible, but still not entirely bad. Although I'd say that might also depend on your viewpoint and how you're fighting from. So, who is actually fighting? Well, here in the west, it's YinChin of the 17th SS Panzer Division, Verlichingen, and fighting them shall be our good friend Rommelsayer of the 3rd Infantry Division, and why not? Let's get it underway. Panzer Elite recently having after the patch apparently gotten a bit of a rumor for being a bit too much. Personally, I don't think it's quite like that. Yes, they can be a bit more surprisingly harder, but then that's again because they usually had actually a lot more trouble, and now things are actually a bit more level with them, which is actually catching a lot of players off guard. Of course, that's just my opinion, but figured I might as well just preface it with this. Barracks going up for Rommelsayer, nothing unusual there. Engineers heading eastwards. Kettenkraut rather aggressive from the beginning, not securing nearby territory. Not entirely sure I'm keen on that actually. But Panzer Grenadiers getting ready. First team of them have arrived. Engineers heading westwards. Point secured for the farmland, and where shall he be going? Is he going for a sort of pin? In which case that's a bit odd, and again he's sort of denying him a lot of vital resources like fuel, munitions and such, which is generally not what you want to be doing. At least that's my humble opinion. In particular, since Rommelsayer will very soon be gaining then the resource advantage, and he'll basically just be getting even some points, and in that case, he's only going to have the advantage compared to YinChin of the 17th SS. Panzer Grenadier securing the central area. Gewehr 43s already. Panzer Grenadier securing here, and there we go. Riflemen heading southwards, nothing to really oppose them. Panzer Grenadiers being forced into the sort of point-taking business as well. Kettenkraut coming under fire from the riflemen advancing. Panzer Grenadiers not moving 1 inch. Not yet, at least it seems. Another Kettenkraut though getting ready, getting a second one to sort of make up for that. And he's already gone Luftwaffe, as you might have noticed, since it's cloaked right away. And not really the best situation for cover, standing out in the middle of the open while your opponent is in heavy cover. Further Panzer Grenadiers arriving. They could be flanking, but no, they decide not to. A flank would have been a nice maneuver. You know, put up some here and fire down on the riflemen, but apparently the riflemen even find this scary and run away, while other... No, that's engineers apparently. No further rifleman teams as of yet, it seems. Interesting. He's already spent quite a bit of manpower on a observation post. That's rather interesting. That rather signifies, of course, it's the fuel point, that Rommelsayer is rather expecting to go for something rather fuel heavy right away. Quite interesting, although of course he just sort of lost the first fight against YinChin, but at the same time he didn't suffer extremely against it, so he might be able to turn things around. And Panzer Grenadiers once more trying to go for this pin sort of maneuver. 3rd Panzer Grenadier team is ready. Riflemen waiting for their comrades in arms, it would seem. Not a bad idea. There we go, and he's going for grenades right off the bat. Could be why he went for the observation post. He's going for a rather bombardier sort of strategy. Lots of grenades against the Panzer Grenadiers. Quite interesting, quite fascinating. We'll of course have to see how this works out. But certainly a bit of an unusual sort of tactic or strategy he's going for right there, but it's certainly one that could work if YinChin is even slightly unawares. He could be losing a lot of Panzer Grenadiers right away. 4 teams so far. 2 sort of just standing about here, perhaps awaiting the arrival of someone to take that point back. A nice ambush position, but of course Rommelsayer, being the clever twerp he is rather immediately sort of thinking, well, I'm not going to be keeping banging my head into a wall there. I will change the axis of attack and instead attack him where he's probably not expecting him. which is of course is a great tactical and strategic maneuver. That's how you actually sort of guard your opponent. In this case, of course, now he's forced to move some of his troops elsewhere into an attack maneuver, and lots of panzer grenades there. And I suspect we might be seeing the first grenade. Will that happen? Yes, indeed. Will YinChin be aware? Oh dear! Several panzer grenades. That was 4 panzer grenades with 1 grenade, and immediately veterancy 1 for the rifleman. Absolutely snaky, absolutely violent, gratuitous, and of course Rommelsayer. Certainly not a bad maneuver, and moving in against these panzer grenades, already having the advantage, although they are getting a suppressive volley. Rifleman team number 2 not moving in to support, quite tragic. Further rifleman though on the way, and looks like Rommelsayer is just going to use that suppressed team to lob a grenade. My goodness. And there we go. A grenade lobbed, and will no, YinChin is not. Apparently YinChin, for whatever reason, is not quite on the top of this, having lost 1 entire Panzer Grenadier team for this, and that was his Gewehr 43 team. Quite unfortunate, and that's rather also certainly one way you can deal with an Axis opponent who goes heavily on infantry. Grenades. Do not underestimate American grenades, they are quite vicious. There's already heavy losses for YinChin and the 17th SS. Quite extraordinary. Yes, he's gained most of the map, but the manpower he's lost quite a bit, and Rommelsayer will certainly be quick to take the advantage of most of YinChin's forces being brutally and savagely beaten back. Further Panzer Grenadiers on the way. My goodness, YinChin is really going heavily on the Panzer Grenadiers spam. My goodness, yes, again. Although I suppose that fits in with the 17th SS, which wasn't apparently that great of a division, even though it was SS. Yes, it had some equipment, and certainly it had some bits, but it was rather lacking in NCOs and officers, which rather led to slight degradation in tactics and such. Panzer Grenadiers advancing, 1 goes down immediately because they're crossing negative cover. Again, negative cover bad. Opening up on the rifleman being forced back by the SS Panzer Grenadiere. Hunting them down, rifleman also running away. Quaint trying to seize what points it can. Either one forced away. Rifleman retreating. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers continuing the advance. And looks like a logistic company going up. And a mine was hit. Not just content to dropping grenades onto his face, Rommelsayer is also laying down mines to make it even harder for YinChin to even advance into what ought to be his territory. And there we go, riflemen getting dropped on these panzer grenades. Others forced to move in quickly. Not looking good for YinChin and the 17th SS. Riflemen advancing against them. And why do I suspect another grenade might be used here? And that's probably because the munition's right there. And oh dear, heavy losses again. 3 Panzer Grenadiers down, leaving behind 2 skeletons of Panzer Grenadier teams. My goodness, not looking good for YinChin at all. He really needs to be quicker against those grenades. Much quicker. And it certainly would also have been of help if he had gone for something like a half track instead of just spamming Panzer Grenadiers. Well, that's just me. But still, his Kettenkrantz is still doing a nice job of harassment at this stage. Though it might end up biting me in the arse. And of course, supply yard up for Rommelsayer. Quickly advancing him, he gained the advantage. He's not about to give it up. So we'll probably be seeing an armored car from him very soon. And what will YinChin be going for? Looks like he might be building something, or not.
Our front lines are collapsing.
Defensive operations up. Panzer Grenadiers advancing out. Looks like he has 4 team upgrades ready. And sending out just 3 men right there.
Losing ground out there.
So again, rather Panzer Grenadier heavy strategy tactic, I suppose. Just relying on brute Panzer Grenadier force. And these 3 are ending up in quite a nasty position. Riflemen on all sides. Cover will not be of help to them. They need to retreat. Again, remember, let's just briefly pause. Cover is directional. In this case, of course, they will be getting a defensive bonus against these troops, but against those ones behind them, nothing. Very important thing to note. And right here, Panzer Grenadiers advancing, and a grenade goes off, blowing apart the cart, and 2 Panzer Grenadiers. YinChin not really having much luck against those grenades. Another large Panzer Grenadier force advancing in. Riflemen forced away. And these Panzer Grenadiers aren't doing too well either. Again, YinChin really seems to be quite unfortunate today. He's probably not quite that used to your American opponents going that heavily on grenades. They really rarely do so, but as you might have noticed, it's quite effective. Another grenade, but in this case YinChin is on it. And he dodges it. Quite good show there. Finally a bit of luck. And Rommelsayer, or YinChin, sort of hanging about here. Of course not uncloaking as of yet. And YinChin just doing the harassment with his kitten cards. Very nice, very bold, very sneaky. At least that's going to perhaps give him a light advantage. And looks like a Panzer command is going up. But there's a motor pool and an armored car. Oh dear, YinChin. You don't have any anti-tank assets. Why am I worried about this? Well, probably because that M8 is going to do terrible things to YinChin. And since he's gone Luftwaffe, there's no chance of him getting a hit or anything else to sort of slightly rectify the situation. And now we're gaining an observation post on the munitions. Good show right there. Certainly only going to help. Rifleman advancing, Kettencrack getting away. Panzer Grenadiers fighting as a large minor assault force moving in. And the Panzer Grenadiers not wanting to be in the line of a grenade. Riflemen facing off here as well. Panzer Grenadiers into a full retreat now. M8 moving ahead. And we are seeing the Panzer command up. But will it be getting something to hunt down that armored car, or will it be getting an armored car of its own?
Losing contact with one of our sectors.
Rifleman going down, and let us go have a look at YinChin, who's getting in some Luftwaffe ground troops. If anything.
Send your mission orders.
Panzer Grenadiers getting reinforced, and of course, I mean, it's as to YinChin's decision of just going for the Panzer command, perhaps then for the Panzer support command. Well, I mean, it's not unusual for, of course, your opponent when he goes grenades to go for BARs, but at the same time, though, it's a lot less of a resource sort of investment, so it can, of course, be used to then go for the armored car. And that, of course, is rather what Rommelsayer went for here, and rather YinChin wasn't quite prepared for this. More Gewehr 43s being equipped. Kettencraft once more cloaking, getting away. And he is going for the armored car. No anti-tank weaponry so far. Not looking good for YinChin. The Greyhound is there, and here's absolutely nothing that can deal with this vicious hound of the Americans. And of course these Panzer Grenadiers are sort of unsure what to do. Others retreating. And is again asking for me for 1 versus 1 nice, but I can't respond since I'm watching his replay on this case, of course, commenting on it. Riflemen advancing, coming under heavy fire from the Panzer Grenadiers, but of course a grenade, and YinChin retreats right through it, taking heavy damage. Oh my goodness, that was 4 Panzer Grenadiers absolutely maimed. Armored car is ready, and some other chaps are reinforcing back in the base. These riflemen already have gained rather quickly veterancy 2 thanks to the miracle of grenades. There we go, armored cars and anti-tank grenades. Anti-tank grenades, while they certainly can do a bit of damage if they hit, trouble is actually getting them to hit. Since vehicles can't quickly dodge in, there we go. Not entirely sure why he's riding that. Panzer Grenadiers getting forced away. Armored car opening up on whatever American infantry is nearby. Some engineers in this case. And he's going for the Panzer support command now, although that's a bit too late. And not sure why he then proceeds to use the resource and anti-tank grenades. Armored car hunting down the engineers, but the American armored car is ready to put a stop to that. And the Kettencraft got killed. Quite tragic. Now the Panzer Elite armored car is getting pounded down by the American armored car. Although looks like an anti-tank grenade actually did connect and it's down to half health.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
And Rangers have arrived on the field. Rommelsayer now getting support by a Ranger battalion to provide some heavier firepower and some tougher infantry. Armored car making a rather heavy dash forward, opening up with some riflemen, gunning them down.
The Americans are capturing a sector.
And Panzer Grenadiers once more getting reinforced. Eventually, I suppose. But of course, having suffered rather heavy losses, rather high attrition due to the grenades, and a rather attrition-prone sort of strategy that relied on lots of Panzer grenadiers, he's rather crippled himself at this stage. Already 13 minutes into the game, and he's already rather hurting for manpower. Armored car getting hunted down by the other armored car. And it looks like the rifleman might go down. This could be a minor victory. Nope.
We are losing a sector.
Instead, it runs straight into the Rangers with the bazookas, and the bazookas turn it into a bonfire. Panzer Grenadiers gain a small victory here in the west, forcing away some American riflemen, but that will be probably short-lived. Anti-tank half-track ready.
Our enemies will cower.
And a Wirbelwind. We'll of course have to see how that works out.
The Americans are capturing a sector. Forward supply lines.
In the meanwhile, fuel point being secured by the Rangers. Armored car prowling the fields for Germans. And another mine hit, and the anti-tank half-track comes under fire from the M8 and opens up on the M8 in return. Who shall win this duel, this fight? Looks like the armored car will be able to get away. The anti-tank half-track heavy, absolutely no luck in hitting it and perhaps disabling it. Indeed, no luck at all. Riflemen retreating in the face of the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers surging forwards once more, although only 2 men heavily wounded in the center. My goodness, get them away, YinChin. They could easily end up dead, and looks like the deliverers of death, the Rangers, have arrived. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers facing off against these riflemen. One grenade, though, and this could end up very badly, and yes, no. Instead, getting suppressed right out in the middle of the road, getting gunned down. Anti-tank half-track advance, but a grenade goes off on the Panzer Grenadiers, but they dodge it. Quite fortunate. Duel with the engineers. Anti-tank half-track continuing its hunt. And the Panzer Grenadiers in the center were killed as predicted.
The enemy has moved against one of Germany's victory.
And looks like the rifleman might get cut down. Oh dear, a veterancy 2 rifleman team was lost for Rommelsayer. Quite tragic. But it looks like he still has plenty, with veterancy even. And now an upgrade for the Panzer Support Command. My goodness.
The enemy will
and now the Rangers themselves might come under fire, and if YinChin is a bit lucky, he might even be able to scratch up a bazooka from them. But no, they retreat without any losses and no bazookas dropped. That could have been helpful against the armored cars. And these Panzer Grenadiers need to retreat. BARs now equipped for Rommelsayer's riflemen, increasing their firepower quite a bit, in particular for that Veterancy 2 team, which will be much more accurate with it. And Veterancy 3, they will be doing quite a bit more damage. Scout car now on the way? A scout car? Well, that's off. Panzer Grenadiers facing off against the riflemen, advancing in hordes, in droves. Panzer Grenadiers forced away, other team not doing too well. Armored car moving in here to really put the pressure on them. YinChin rather floundering, since he rather ran into the one thing that could really put a stop to all of his plans of fatherland victory, the grenade. Anti-tank half-track getting repaired, and a Panzer IV support tank on the way from the 100th Ersatzpanzer Battalion. Training and Replacement Battalion. There was a few there in Normandy.
Panzer, we must defend the enemy's advances on our victory points.
With a combination of old Panzers and French tanks.
Our forward supply lines are broken.
Panzer IV is ready. And light anti-tank half-track has been repaired. Looks like there might be another attempt by YinChin to break out from the American embrace of death. Will the 17th SS be able to secure a breakthrough in this case? Once more the engineers lay down their mines. Armored skirts ready for the Panzer IV, giving it protection against sticky bombs and bazookas. So good show there, and looks like it's heading northwards. Might be catching these Veterancy 1 engineers. Probably gained their veterancy from mines, and that's certainly one thing to note. Let's just briefly pause. units that lay down mines, like for example the engineers who lay down this one, actually gain the kills for the mine. So for example, and that of course also applies for riflemen, so of course if you have some riflemen laying down lots of mines, they can actually gain further veterancy that way. Sneaky that, but let's return to the fight. Panzer Grenadiers facing off against the riflemen, lots of BARs, anti-tank half-tank opening up. Panzer IV needs to get back, engineers runs away. Surge of riflemen, a veritable wave of BARs and M1 Garands. Might be a bit of focus fire right there from the anti-tank half-tank or not. Panzer IV moves in. Is surrounded though, oh dear. Gets to run away, sticky bomb goes off. Crashes another one beneath its treads. 5 kills already, 7 kills, my goodness. Of course it's doing quite a bit with its high explosive shells. But it's quite damaged. And why isn't he using focused fire for his light anti-tank half-tank is beyond me. Another sticky bomb on the Panzer IV. Immobilized, my goodness. And a bazooka was dropped, but quickly picked up by the Rangers. Another one goes down to the anti-tank half-track. Heavy losses for the Rangers and some defensive veterancy for the Panzer IV. Troops will quickly be needed to repair perhaps some Luftwaffe ground forces from some nearby Luftwaffe security unit, perhaps. At least something that can quickly put it together. As that Panzer IV perhaps looks like Mr. YinChin's best chance of victory against the Americans, since it's able to withstand most of the firepower and absorb it. And he's sending in his light anti-tank half-track unsupported. YinChin, what are you doing? And looks like another cannon crab might be lost, but no, it cloaks. And immobilized. Oh dear, YinChin. Light anti-tank half-tracks need to be kept behind your infantry, not in front of it. And looks like the M8 will be gaining an easy kill here. Anti-tank half-tank attempt used, but no luck. A grenade and a few Panzer Grenadiers down.
We have eliminated the enemy once more.
And looks like a rifleman team did go down to the Panzer Grenadiers. Let us return, and I do believe it's time for a slightly belated mid-game analysis. What is the current situation? Well, Rommelsayer rather has the advantage at this stage, despite YinChin's rather Panzer Grenadier heavy strategy. Lots of territory being taken, but rather the grenades proved too much for YinChin. And YinChin wasn't quite able to dodge it. Dodgy that, eh? But at the same time, YinChin is rather having a bit of trouble dealing with the M8s, despite his attempted anti-tank grenades, which isn't really proving to be of much luck. Anti-tank gun, though, is up for the Americans, and YinChin perhaps could steal it from Rommelsayer and use it against him. Rommelsayer, on the other hand, has quite a bit of veteran infantry, in particular this veterancy-free rifleman team. Some Rangers and other bits, although it looks like his riflemen have been taking some losses. He's down to only 2 teams. Interesting that. But really, Rommelsayer does seem to be holding the advantage, holding most of the victory points and most of the map. YinChin rather needs to get his act together, and he needs to deal with that M8 in a slightly more sensible fashion, and he needs to stop throwing away units. But let us return. Panzer Grenadiers continuing the hunt.
Battalion reinforcements standing by.
But coming under fire themselves, anti-tank gun firing away. Rangers ready to intercept, and these Panzer Grenadiers will not be able to clear it out, unfortunately. Panzer IV continuing to getting repaired. The Luftwaffe troops from some Luftwaffe security unit doing their best. Panzer IV opening up on the M8, and the M8 is taking quite a beating. The high explosive shells being quite able to penetrate the armor, the light armor of the armored car. Rangers now advancing into the line of fire of the Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun opens up as well.
Our supply lines are being threatened.
Panzer IV isn't firing, but there we go. And the slight cover making it a bit harder for the Panzer IV to hit them. But even that won't help the Rangers in the long run, since the Panzer IV is just firing a deranged fusillade of high explosive shells. And an off-map combat group providing, oh dear, 2 Hellcats against YinChin's Panzer IV. And there's nothing else in terms of anti-tank weaponry. This is pretty bad for YinChin. And by pretty bad, I mean really bad. Panzer Grenadiers hunting down the anti-tank gun. The Hellcats stalking the battlefields, crashing through the cemeteries. And moving in for their prey, the Panzer IV Panzerkampfwagen 4. Oh dear. And looks like the Luftwaffe troops have sort of given up on just repairing it at that stage. And by that went the sort of backbone of YinChin 17th SS forces. Without the Panzer IV, things just got a lot more difficult. Panzer Grenadiers taking rather beating. Whatever shall YinChin do in the face of this threat, this horror of the Americans? Who knows? But I'm sure Rommelsayer is quite pleased at this turn of events. Certainly not a bad thing for the off-map combat group to get him. Apparently in this case he got some riflemen, 2 Hellcats and a mortar. That's certainly quite handy considering he only spent 800 manpower on it. And looks like a Flak 88 is going up. The Luftwaffe being forced to drag in one of their Flak 88s from a Luftwaffe Flak-Abt regiment to be used against the Allied armored assets, probably. Will it work? Perhaps, perhaps not. But there we go, crewed and ready to be turned against the Allies.
Initiating defensive operations.
Panzer Grenadiers advancing under the watchful gaze of the Flak 88. Riflemen laying down a bit of barbed wire to deny the Axis forces any cover. Sneaky that. Flak 88 just blasting away so far. Not really doing much except blowing up some barbed wire. Panzer Grenadiers though are awfully clumped up, and one grenade could do some very nasty damage, or for example that mortar which is nearby. But no, the Panzer Grenadiers continue their assault waving with the Luftwaffe troops. Riflemen getting cut down. Anti-tank gun cleared out by the Flak 88. Oh dear. And slowed down the riflemen. My goodness, just a lot of firepower going down here from this very small clump. And of course, Rommelsayer can't do anything because that Flak 88 is going to knock anything out he sends in of any heavier caliber. But now sending in the Rangers, assault submachine guns blazing. In fact, some getting suppressed though. Mortar almost cleared out. There we go, in fact. And looks like there's indeed a grenade getting lobbed. And there we go, clearing out quite a bit. Panzer Grenadiers taking some losses. And another Kettenkrad, what looks like to have been knocked out there in the east.
Artillery support is waiting to get go.
A brave attempt, but sadly the Flak 88 wasn't able to do enough for the cause of the 17th. Having lost quite a bit of accuracy against infantry, it's a lot less useful in some senses. Although it's not utterly useless, though one has to be careful about that.
This shit don't scare us.
Not looking good at all for YinChin and the 17th SS, and the Hellcats are nicely parked in the cemetery. Rather camouflaged, although I wonder how you camouflage a tank destroyer in a sort of cemetery. Perhaps as a sort of mausoleum. Well, looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are now making for a southern assault, rather deciding that now he wants to change the axis of attack. Will it work? Who knows? But let's speed up in the meanwhile so we can get quickly to this. And laying down another Flak 88 to help. Engineers running straight into this and of course alerting Rommelsayer to what's going on. Flak 88 almost ready. Artillery getting called in. Oh dear, oh dear. Anti-tank grenades getting launched against the M8. M8 trying to push the Panzer Grenadiers into the artillery fire. And anti-tank grenades getting lobbed. No much luck there. Panzer Grenadiers trying to recruit the Flak 88 but getting hit by the artillery. They moved too soon. And he loses an entire Panzer Grenadier team on it. Oh dear. And another off-map combat group. What is in this case? Lots of anti-tank guns, a heavy machine gun, and some riflemen. What remains of the 17th SS advances? Probably not very cheerfully though.
Winning this battle.
Rangers advancing, coming under fire, getting suppressed, but firing up, ignoring that. Lots of Rangers, lots of riflemen. It's the veterancy free riflemen, in fact. Panzer Grenadiers getting killed. Standing out in the open against all of this and taking heavy losses. And I'd say that Flag 88 is in quite a bit of trouble.
The enemy is down to 25 points.
Riflemen and Rangers advancing. Flag 88 firing away. Butterfly bombs being called in, I suspect. Yes, indeed.
Losing ground out there.
And there we go. Flag 80 is cleared out. Rangers and Riflemen hit a few butterfly bombs, taking minor losses. Very negligible, in fact. And there we go. Flag 8 recruit. And YinChin has no more victory points, I say. So there we go. YinChin and the 17th SS have been beaten rather handily by Rommelsayer. And of course, this was rather a sort of strategy which a lot of players would have probably thought would have gone against them. Again, that is the sort of heavy Panzer Grenadiers, lots of clumping them up. But Rommelsayer provided a cure, a nice grenade down their throat. So of course, what can we learn from this? One we have learned is grenades are pretty damn effective. Very great. And of course, spamming Panzer Grenadiers isn't necessarily just going to end you with victory right away. In fact, it probably went the other way. In this case, for YinChin, having lost quite a few to grenades. Even increasing the squad size is not going to help. And of course, always try to protect if your opponent is going to go for BARs or M8s. In this case, he predicted wrong. The M8 turned out to be quite nasty, and anti-tank grenades aren't really suited for a vehicle of that speed. Tanks, alright, but not M8s. They just get away too quickly. An anti-tank half-track or two would have been more helpful, or an Armada 3. But sadly, none of that really materialized in greater numbers. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dean saying cheers.